Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Birdie Golf Club podcast. This episode is brought to you by Runner Golf. Now, if you've listened to the other podcasts, you're pretty aware of what Runner is right now, because it changed my game, it changed my putting game, and I want it to change yours as well. There's a lot out there at the moment. There's a lot of marketing towards zero torque putters. Everyone's doing zero torque putters. They're trying to take over from what Lab have done, which has been a success, and people are seeing results for it. But Runner really does an amazing job of being completely unique in the putting space because zero torque putters are made for a certain style of putting stroke, and you have to adapt to that. Runner adapts to your putting stroke, so there's no reason to change. You can just putt the way you putt, and this putter is designed to make sure that that ball goes in that little hole more often than not. So head over to Runner Golf right now. Go and do the customization options. There is over 1,000 configurations of the putter available. So go and get the right one for you and use the code the Birdie Golf Club 10 at checkout for 10% off your order at runner.golf. Now we can get into this week's episode. This week's episode is a really, really special one. I was joined by Cameron Widner. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. Widner. Could be Widner, but I think it's Widner. And Cameron is a really interesting personality in the game of golf. He started his Instagram page, Just Go For It Golf, and he's just seen a huge amount of success in, what is a relatively short period of time. I think when I started following him, he had around 5,000 followers, and he's already up to 40,000 followers within a 6 month period. So it's incredibly, incredibly impressive. He's a really lovely guy as well. Loves his golf, very knowledgeable about the game, but also knowledgeable about business. And I thought it would be a really interesting conversation because I know a lot of the that listen either run an Instagram page or maybe are thinking about running an Instagram page and getting into the golf content creation scene, as more and more people are doing. And Cameron's take on everything is just really interesting. So I hope you enjoy this conversation with Cam. And as always, if you're enjoying the podcast, it really would mean a lot to me if you could just head over and leave a rating. It takes a couple of seconds. You could do it right now if you wanted to. If you just go to the About section, if you're on Spotify, and click rate this show, give it a little 5-star rating, that would be nice. And on Apple Podcasts, you can also leave a rating on there and a review, and it all really helps. Share with friends. Let's just take Birdie Golf Club podcast to the moon. That would mean so much to me. So, without much further ado, let's get to this episode with Cam Widner. Yeah, exactly. But Cam, I mean, it's been amazing. Sort of half a year that it seems to be that's happened for you. I mean, I know you've probably got a far longer backstory, but how have you found like this year so far?
Yeah, that's a loaded question, man. I think humbling first and foremost. I think, it's kind of a maybe a dichotomy a little bit or a little bit of a balance, right? When you're creating content because you want more followers, you want the visibility, you want the virality, right? You want to go viral, but
Mm.
then when you get it, for me anyways, like kind of go, well, do I really deserve this? Like it's that imposter syndrome, like
Hmm.
I don't deserve any of this. Like I'm not that funny or my content isn't very good. And, those doubts start to kind of creep in a little bit. So it's been all of that to be said. It's just been a roller coaster of emotions. Truly, it's been a roller coaster of emotions. And yeah, the last 6 months has been remarkable. Before that was a ton of fun as well, creating content and obviously kind of the light switch or the faucet turned on.
Hmm.
And it's been humbling to say the very least.
Amazing. Because how long have you actually had your Instagram page? How long has it been running?
So it's almost 2 years actually. I'm coming up on an anniversary, which I hopefully I've got something special planned for that. But yeah, it was August 2023. I decided to fire up the old Instagram and see what it was all about. And I've said this before. I started out doing kind of no face content, kind of some
Hmm.
memes would be a pretty over dramatic thing. They were pretty stupid reels, is what I first started making. Um, yeah, not very well done at all. Just like most of us, when we start making content, it's not very good. And but I didn't really want to show my face on it. I was embarrassed and started to pick up a little bit of steam, maybe about 6 or 8 months after that. And then it kind of just staled out for about 6 or 8 months. And then here we find ourselves now, the last 6 or 8 months been on a little bit of an uptick, which has been awesome.
Yeah. And do you find that because a lot of people seem to start faceless accounts, it seems to be quite a trend of doing it, and it works for some people, but do you have you found that because people now you're recognizable with your content, that people feel a little bit more in touch with you as somebody who's a content creator? Do you find that sort of relationship has seemed to happen somewhat?
I do, and I would say it's probably more of a two-way connection than it is just a one-way connection from,
Hmm.
we'll call it them, right? My followers to me. I feel more connected to my followers. And so that was a byproduct I didn't really expect, to be honest with you. I thought, okay, hey, maybe I'll show my face on there. I'll get a few more likes, get a few more views because they know I'm a quote unquote, I'm a real person.
Hmm.
But I did not expect that that connection would go both ways. So now
Yeah.
as the growth kind of started, I started talking to a lot more followers, a lot more creators, just a lot more people.
Mm.
And that two-way connection, I think for me is what I've found to be probably the most enjoyable piece of the puzzle, right? I mean, yeah,
Mm.
getting likes, and I've been fortunate enough to work with some great brands and great
Mm.
companies and great people, but like just talking to people and making connections with people, like if that's not what life is all about, like that's a pretty deep thought, but like if that really isn't what life
Mm.
is all about, I don't know what it is. It's bigger than golf, it's bigger than me, it's bigger than Instagram, that's for sure. But it's just about making connections. And I think once I started participating a little bit more in the content I was making, then the connections became more real for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Because there's so much talk, and rightly so, of like the dangers of social media and the fact that people get wrapped up in likes and negative comments and everything like that. But obviously, it would be a bit harsh to just look at the negatives when there quite clearly can be positives as well. And I think one of the things that really struck home with me in your journey as I've been following it, which is a relatively short period of time, really, was obviously when you had your health issues as well that came
Sure.
into play, and the rally of support that came along with that
Yeah.
was really special. Do you want to talk to that at all? Or?
Um, yeah, I'll speak to that kind of in a roundabout way.
Mm. Of
So
course, yeah. I
yeah,
don't want
no,
to
no, no,
pry too much, but
it's all good. Um, so I think maybe how the health stuff kind of correlated to my content. I think that's maybe the part I'll speak to the most, but
mm,
it was back in December of this last year, so December 2024. Um, I started going through some health issues, um, which, if you guys follow me, if you're listening to this or watching this, it's been pretty well documented. If you don't, you can go back and watch some of it. I don't want to speak about it too
mm,
much, but um, when I started going through the health issues in December, kind of the light switch in my brain was this. It was you hear about these content creators, you hear about these people going all in whatever it is that they're doing, right? As an entrepreneur, you sell everything, you put a second mortgage on your house and you go all in on whatever that business is or whatever that idea is. And you hear some of that from a content creator standpoint too, right? Of like, I quit my job, I'm burning the boats, I'm doing whatever I can to make content work. And as a family man, for me, that isn't really possible, right? I'm a
mm,
sole provider in my house. I don't have that luxury. I got two awesome kids. I don't have that luxury to literally go all in and abandon my career, but I could take that same mentality. And I think my health issues kind of triggered that mentality for me. It
mm,
was go all in. What does all in look like? And I started attacking social media almost like a business.
mm,
I'm a consultant by trade, and so I examine businesses and look to build their profitability and optimize their bottom line and get the word out and increase sales and increase marketing efforts. So it's like, why aren't I looking at social media through that same lens? And so I guess that's probably how the health side of stuff
mm,
correlated to the growth. And I hesitated a lot, kind of putting my health issues
Sure.
online for sure for a lot of reasons. But
Mm,
um, I think again, you go back to that two-way connection of, and to your point, I mean that the support that came from that was unbelievable,
mm,
unbelievable. And yeah, I'm eternally grateful. I mean, I had people that I'd never met before, reaching out, sending me messages. I had people sending dinner to my house that I'd never met before to
mm,
support my family as I was laid up. And I mean, that kind of stuff, that doesn't happen without the community that I was fortunate enough to be a part of. It just doesn't happen. So yeah, there's so much bad about social media. There's so much
of
bad.
course. Mm,
But there is so much freaking good that let's leverage that part. Let's forget the bad part. Let's just leverage the good part for sure. But yeah,
yeah.
I think to me it was awesome. It was a cool transition and it was a cool thought process of that all-in mentality of how can I burn the boats and just go for it. And here we are. It's worked out pretty well so far.
Yeah, it's been amazing. I mean, to see also, I think it really shows, especially in Instagram. You look at different communities, even with inside Instagram, you see the golf community. It just is a bit different, I think, the golfing community, and I think that somewhat comes from people's roots in golf as well, and the sort of the traditions which some people want to leave behind and become more accessible. But for me, and I don't know if you share this as well, growing up playing golf, it's the traditions and the way you have to show respects and all these things all are sort of entrenched in the game and then through that, through the players and the community that surrounds it. So what was your what was your like what's your golfing story? When did you first pick up a
Ooh,
club? How old were you? Let's get
that's
to it.
brilliant. That's brilliant. Well, the first part of that I'll say, talking about, the etiquette and
Mm,
being part of the game. Yeah, to your point, I think that's why, the golf community on social media is so strong. But also, I think, if you've ever been a single going out and trying to get a tee time and you just get matched up with three dudes that you don't know, you're
hmm.
forced in so many ways to strike up a conversation. You're forced to build a relationship. And on the flip side, just as many times as I've been a single, getting out and getting paired with three people I don't know, I've been a threesome and a single joins us. So I
Yeah,
think in so many ways, at the heart of the good of the game of golf is inclusivity, not exclusivity, but inclusivity, bringing
yeah,
people in. So I kind of look at, the traditions of golf. Well, what are the traditions of golf is bringing in people, being inclusive to those people that are going to come in, respect the game for sure. But um, I think that's just important. I think that's why golf social media is different, but golf in general, golfers in general are built a little bit different.
mm,
My story with golf, I guess my golfing story is a short one. So I was an athlete growing up. I played baseball, all the quote unquote American sports, right? The baseball, the basketball. Um, and I golfed every great once in a while, maybe once or twice a year. I'd go have a few beers with my buddies, go play in a scramble and have fun. As my career progressed, I started playing more, corporate events and things like that. And um, that's really what kind of got the itch for me. Had nothing to do with COVID. So all you COVID people out there saying, shrink the game, that had nothing to do with it. It was well after COVID had kind of subsided, but I played in a corporate event. I was like, man, I think I could be pretty damn good at this. Like I'm going to get out
mm,
there and I'm going to give this a shot. And then it's just been all all efforts moving forward since
mm,
then. So that was about 3.5 years ago. So I guess it was like in April of 2022 is when
mm,
like at that time, I didn't even have a driver in the bag. I didn't have a number of clubs I know wedges. It was like basically your off the shelf kit
mm,
from whatever department store. Um, and I think the athlete side of me and the competitive side of me was like, how can I get good at this?
mm,
And my career pivoted at that point, gave me quite a bit more free time. So I tell people when because I play right now like a 5 or 6 handicap index. So I've gotten pretty
yeah.
decently good over the last few years. But I tell people I've only been golfing for 3 years, but the amount of golf I've played in those 3 years is like 15 years worth of golf. Because
Okay.
for a couple of years, I was playing 18 holes a day plus an hour or two of practice a day. So
Nice.
I'm not playing that much anymore, but That was, I got hooked, man. I think that's the other thing about golf. It just lays its hooks in you and you're just in. And once you're
Yeah.
in, you're all in. And it's been awesome.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. I mean, I've got friends that have just sort of kind of taken it up, and I think the ability to just go out and practice on your own is sort of like takes precedent over any other sport because it's so hard to do that within other sports. You generally need someone to either play with or you need a certain kind of setup. The ability to just rock up to a course and practice on the range, practice short game, go out and play 18 by yourself if you need to. I think
Right.
it's a dangerous ability that golf has, right? Because everything else can just go out the window. Like the sun's shining, where would I rather be? But at the same time, it's incredibly special. So I think we both sort of similar sort of time actually. I played when I was younger, a decent amount, but that sort of post-COVID period when sort of a lot of people would seem to start getting into the game, I got into the game back in about that sort of time as well. So to get down
Yeah.
to a was it 4 or 5 you are at the moment?
Yeah, I've been as low as like a high three and
Wow.
right now probably about a 5.5 or so. So I would say I'm in between a 5 and a 6 right now. So it's
Yeah.
been good. It's been
Yeah,
good.
really good. Really good.
But I think
And
that's what got me hooked is it was like I can win. And I mean
yeah.
foolishly at this time, when you first start playing golf, you think you can beat golf.
Hmm.
And the more that you play and now I've really become what I would consider to be a student of the game. Like there's no beating golf. You're never going to win, but you can beat yourself. And again, that's the other beauty of golf is it's just you versus you. You're playing the course, you versus the course, you versus yourself. And yeah, again, that's another part of the game that or another part of this sport that you just don't find really anywhere else, in
Hmm.
my opinion.
No, I mean I completely agree. And you've obviously got the challenge as well, which shouldn't be a challenge. But I know you're a lefty. And you
Yes.
did you want to speak to the challenges of being a lefty? Because I don't really fully understand. I'm an ignorant right-handed golfer. So come on, fill us all in on the challenges.
Well, I think, you know, a couple of the challenges. One, when I was a baseball player, which is unique, I had all the advantages in the world, right? Being a lefty playing baseball, you have traditionally you're put on a different pedestal, right?
Hmm.
Um, you're a better hitter typically. I don't want to say a better hitter, but you have a better looking swing. Typically, you're a
Hmm.
couple steps closer to first base. So
Right.
you've got a little
Yep.
bit of an advantage there, especially when you're young. I pitched as well. And so when you're young, kids aren't used to seeing a left-handed pitcher because there aren't as many lefties. And so you have a little bit of a built-in affluence, so to speak. And so coming over to the golf side of things, it pivoted pretty damn hard. Like this is not the same. I don't have the same uh, advantages as I do playing baseball. And there's some guys out there that feel like lefties are shafted and lefties are just left, I don't know, yeah, in the dust. I don't necessarily view it that way. But I do think the biggest disadvantage by far that us lefties have is there's just not as many of us. And so I don't
Hmm.
have any buddies that I golf with on a regular basis that are left-handed. So the way that that impacts me is I just can't like try out a club. I can't just like reach into my buddy's bag, try out his new putter, try out a driver, try out a set of irons. Like, in order for me to try out a set of clubs or try out a club, I'm buying that club and trying it out. So that's where I think the big disadvantage is. And yeah, there's some club manufacturers that don't make their full lineup for lefties and for righties. I don't
Yeah.
know. It hasn't impacted me too much. The biggest thing for me is like, oh, did you try those new set of Mizunos? Well, no, because that's just not, I can't do that. But for the most part, it doesn't impact me a ton. Glove selection sucks. And
Okay.
some training aids suck, like grip trainers. It's hard to find grip trainers for lefties.
Oh.
Um, but for the most part, I don't know. I think you can figure out a way. Where there's a will, there's a way, just like with anything. And yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, yeah, no, I understand. Yeah, no, yeah, that is interesting. Some of those things that you said about the grip trainers, just privileged right-hander, just not. Did you try right-handed at all? Because I've heard there can be some helpfulness with that because essentially your left hand then is kind of guiding through the swing.
Yeah.
Did you try and hit right-handed at all?
I never have, and I think it's because I played swing sports growing up, right? Like I played baseball, so
Mm,
my swing was pretty well built in. But like my brother-in-law, for example, my wife's brother, he plays baseball right-handed, but
mm,
golf's left-handed. So it can be
mm.
done, but to me, like being able to swing both ways is just as rare, probably more rare than being left-handed, that ambidextrous swing. So I've never tried it. I mean, let me say that different. I've never successfully like given it a good effort. I've
Yeah.
goofed off with my buddies, tried to hit their clubs and stuff, but never it was not worth pursuing. We'll say it that way. It didn't go very well.
I've got a friend who was on the podcast a little while back actually, and he can play right and left-handed. And he's like a two or a one, I think, at the moment, right-handed, and I think he got to a nine left-handed or something like that. It's just
Those people deserve to be, I don't know, man, like studied, truly studied, because
yeah.
I don't understand. Like I've been a pretty high level athlete my whole life, and I just don't understand how you have that different level of athleticism that you can do so with both both sides of your body. I will say though, an advantage of being left-handed, anytime that you're learning a sport, whether it's baseball or golf, is you're able to mirror your teacher. So, for example,
Yes.
if I'm learning a golf swing and I'm face to face with my instructor, right,
Hmm.
we can then mirror each other. So I can then learn the position face on versus like if you're going righty righty, he's going to have to be flip flop to be face to face to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or you're going to
Yeah.
have to
Yeah.
look at him from behind, whatever that is. So I do think that there is an advantage from learning, being able to mirror the person sitting next to you and copycatting their swing that way. So for all those people that say that lefties get a bad rap, that is true, but there are some advantages out there too, I think.
That's good. That's good. You're not being a victim, which I
That's it.
like. Because did you also get some lessons in this sort of 3.5 year period? How have you found that experience?
Yeah, I have a big shout out here locally to me is Jake Blair is his name. If you're in Northern Utah, he won Instructor of the Year, I believe it was 2 years ago. He is in the state of Utah. He is awesome,
Yeah.
absolutely awesome. And so I've gone and seen him a few different times and really instrumental, I should say, on developing kind of a one-way miss. That's what I initially went to him for. It was like just like a lot of golfers when you step into it, it's like I don't know which direction my ball is going to go, and
Hmm.
it's impossible to score when that's the case. Then you're not
Mm.
confident standing over the ball, as we all know. It just nightmares ensue. So um, I went to him. First time was probably 2 years ago, maybe yeah, start of golf season last year. At any rate, and he got me straightened out, and I've taken lessons from him a handful of times since then when I feel like I can't correct myself anymore.
Mm.
And I do play a lot. The benefit of being a content creator, I do record my swing a lot.
Hmm.
And so I'm able to get real time, pretty real time feedback just like that. And last summer, it's interesting. I stopped for whatever reason. I wasn't doing a lot of on-course content mid to last summer. And I go back to filming some of my swings, my scores. I wasn't playing very well either, shooting kind of mid 80s. I'm like, what the heck is going on? And just kind of by happenstance started recording my swing a little bit more. And I go, well, there's your problem. Like, what are you doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, and the lessons have been super helpful, but I will say creating content and taking on course content of your swing is extremely, extremely valuable as well, especially if you've seen enough YouTube swing tip videos like I have. You can kind of point
Yeah.
out some different things. So it's been helpful.
Yeah, I think we're similar in that thing. I if anything, overanalyze my own game to the point of then getting two in my head sometimes. The lessons I think were really helpful, pointing out things that I probably would have never have spotted.
Yeah.
Um, but I always say to people like getting lessons that, like I said, I had friends who just started and they sort of booked like 10-hour block lessons. And I sort of said, that's great. That's going to be so much information probably over that time. And you're going to
Yeah.
need 10 times whatever that time is to implement whatever they've told you.
Mm.
That's, you know, I think
That's
like
spot on. That is
it's
spot on.
it's a good kind of algorithm for working it out. Because I said just get an hour in, and then spend
Yeah.
10 hours learning whatever they've said to you. I said if you haven't got the time for that, then don't bother getting the lesson in the first place. Go on
Right.
YouTube, go and have a look at things, try and work it out yourself. Because a lot of people throw a lot of money down the pan on lessons, I think sometimes, and their game doesn't improve. I don't know if you've seen that as well.
Oh, 100%. I don't want to give a negative shout out, but my brother is going through something similar to that right now. He just
Mm,
spent a lot of money on lessons over the last 6 months, and he comes
mm.
out and just visits me for a couple of weeks. We played a ton of golf, and he'll be the first one to say, so I don't feel bad, but his game has not improved, and
Yeah, yeah.
because every shot he's overthinking
Mm,
all of this information that he's trying to digest, and um, it, it's just not healthy, right? I think you have to put in the time, like you said, to get that muscle memory. So when you step on the course, you're just being an athlete. You're going to go be an athlete. You're going to go hit the golf shot. You don't have
yeah,
to think about, okay, my hand position's here, my feet position's here. Yeah, you need to be properly aligned, but like that muscle memory has to be so ingrained that you can execute as an athlete.
yeah.
And what I think, like lessons for me, just to finish that thought, like when I played baseball for long enough, and any other athlete can probably say the same thing about their sport of choice, but like if I saw a ground ball and I didn't see the batter, and all I saw was just a ground ball get hit, I could
Mm,
probably tell you two or three things that caused that ground ball, like what happened in the batter swing, where the pitch was, all those different types of things. I could see that without seeing the pitcher, without seeing the batter. But in golf, there's like 500 things that could have gone on. Like you hit a slice for 500 reasons.
mm,
And I think what really helped me with lessons, particularly, was okay, well, of those 500 possibilities, what are Cameron's 10 possibilities? Like,
mm,
what are the 10 adjustments that I can work through if I start mishitting the ball here or I start mishitting the ball there? So I can do a mental checklist, go back to the range and go, okay, if I'm mishitting the ball like this, why? Not what are the 500 reasons, but what are my reasons? What does my
mm.
habits show? And that's been by far and away the most helpful thing for me that stuck with me. And when you have a good instructor, he can go, this is the checklist. You're swaying your body, you're coming over the top, your grip's
Mm,
wrong, all those things. And then you go, okay, my grip's right. That's not it. What else could it be? And you just kind of go through that list. And when you're putting in the work on the range, it's super efficient. So that's my biggest, by far biggest takeaway from taking lessons.
and with playing baseball for as long as you did, what were the positives that you could then transition into golf, and what were the kind of negative things that were happening that you had to really work hard on, and maybe still are working hard on to this day?
I think the positive side, but there's a pretty strong correlation mentally between baseball and golf because you fail far more times than you're successful at both sports,
That's interesting.
right? So in baseball, like you're in the Hall of Fame if you only get a hit 3 times out of 10. Like that's crazy.
Mm,
And in golf, if you only hit a fairway 60% of the time and only hit 60% of the greens and only hit 60% of those 10-foot putts, you're going to be in pretty good shape out there on the course. You're going to be scoring pretty well.
yeah.
Um, but it's learning how to, the mental side is huge in all sport, but definitely in golf and in baseball. But having that fortitude that you're not going to hit every shot perfect. You're not
Hmm.
going to hit the ball. There's no way I don't think in the history of the game of golf, there's nobody that's ever hit the ball exactly from point A to point B twice in their life. Like from one blade of grass to the exact same other blade of grass. That's never happened.
Hmm.
So even if that's the target, it's never going to happen. And you're always going to be a miss hit. It's just managing those miss hits, managing the course, managing what's between your two ears more so than anything else,
Yeah.
which is so true of sport, but definitely true of baseball, where, like I said, you fail more often than you succeed. So the mental side has been really helpful for me, but physically, the swings just happen on different planes. And
Hmm.
so it's a hard thing to combat. So most golfers struggle with a slice. Um, that's just inherently, I think that's a fair assumption to make. A lot of golfers, when they start, struggle with a slice.
Hmm.
And I think 100% of baseball players struggle with the slice. I feel very
Right.
confident in saying that. Just your hand position's different. You want to come at the ball differently,
Mm-hmm.
and your weight distribution is different. You know, with baseball, your weight's on your back foot, and
Of
on
course,
in
yeah.
golf, your weight's on your front. So it's just different with that. But there's so many positive similarities between what your body is doing. You're still swinging something that's 35 inches away from your body, still having that hand-eye coordination, so much value there. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, it's the same but different, right? Same
Mm.
but different.
Yeah. Yeah, because I thought like shoulder rotation as well, right? Because you want to probably just rotate your shoulders really quick
Yeah.
and trying to slow that down for the golf swing and let your body, yeah, it's
Oh
tough.
man, and that's why I think most amateur golfers in general slice is because they try and swing with their arms, right? And
Mm,
their hands get stuck and away they go, right? They're just slicing away. But um, in baseball, it's so accurate is how to slow that swing down.
mm,
And there's still lag, all of that stuff in baseball is still there, and wrist
yeah,
hinge, just different. But being able to slow the swing down and focus on good contact is so true for both sports.
yeah,
But the challenge is how do you get your body to do one thing and a little bit differently another way? But
yeah.
that's why you can never win at golf, man. Doesn't matter if you play baseball or not, you ain't ever gonna win. So it's gonna be
No.
tough.
Every day is a new day of golf. A friend the other day who said to me, "So like, can you shape the ball both ways?" And I'm like, yeah, sometimes." He sort of said,
Yeah,
"Well, no, surely if you know how to do it, you can do it all the time." I'm like, "Yeah, but sometimes it just doesn't work." I said, "The best way of playing golf is just getting to the golf course, finding a shot of the day that works for you, and trying to hit that shot over and over and over again. Like, just do that,
it
right?"
is so accurate. And like I'm a big advocate. A lot of the content that I make and my thought process is we need to temper our expectations as amateur
Mm,
golfers. Like as much as I wish that I was going to go to the PGA Tour, I'm not. Like it's just not going to happen, guys. I'm sorry. And I can grow my game and I can whip some club championships here locally. And I've won some, amateur tournaments and I feel really blessed for that. But like I'm not getting on the tour.
mm,
But what's crazy is that when we go to the golf course, we think we're already on the tour. And like we think that we should sink every single 20-foot putt and we're pissed off when we don't.
mm, mm.
And it's
Yeah, yeah,
uh, from a statistic standpoint, it's just crazy. And even like Tiger Woods says exactly what you just got done saying of I'm going to go to the golf course, figure out which direction my ball is going that day, and that's the shot I'm going to hit that day. So if Tiger Woods,
mm,
unequivocally, the greatest of all time, if Tiger Woods says that's how I'm going to play, but I think as a six handicap, I can come up and say, well, I'm going to hit a draw on this shot. I'm going to hit a fade on this shot. Yeah, sometimes it's going to work out, but go play the shot that you're given that day. Um, we got to temper our expectations as amateur golfers, my opinion, big time.
exactly. And everyone's like mind works different as well. I was watching a really old, like early 2000s range session, which was Tiger Woods with Tom Kim when Tom Kim was just killing it on course. And it was so funny because they were all getting posed questions by these people, and Tiger would give like a very analytical, like, I do this and this and this and this to produce this outcome and this window that I'm trying to hit the ball in. And they said, "Oh, same question to Tom," and he's like, "I just wake up and sometimes my pitching wedge goes 145 yards, sometimes it goes 165. That's it." And Tiger's like laughing, and they
Yeah,
all can't believe it. And it's just that's the two guys at the. I mean, Tom Kim was basically playing Tiger-esque golf at that time,
right.
but two completely different mental approaches to the game, which is it's crazy, isn't
And I think at the end of the day, the message, one, that's wild, right? And like you hear
it?
that, especially like today with all the data that's at everybody's fingertips, I think there's a lot
Mm,
more, like the Brysons of the world and people of that pedigree that they're looking at every ounce of data to improve their game, which is incredible,
mm,
absolutely incredible. And you've got, aim point on the greens, which if it works, it works. I don't think statistically those putters putt any better, but I don't
mm,
think for them individually, maybe they're putting differently now than they were previously. Whatever. I don't know. But
I think aim point's a load of rubbish personally. But that's just my
I do as well personally. But I think and that's probably because it hasn't worked for me. I haven't tried it. I've tried it,
yeah,
I guess I've tried to feel it and it doesn't work for me. So I've moved on, and I guess that would be my point is of all the data of all the types of players and all the type of golf that you can play, it's figuring out how to play your game at the highest level. And my game is not aim point. My game is not data. My game is feel. So in order for me to try and hit a golf shot or try and hit whatever, I've got to see it. I've got to feel it, know where my hands are going to be because I've done it so many times, know where my follow through is going to be, know where the ball position, my feet position, all that stuff. And it's not, okay, it's 2 clicks or 2 degrees this way. It's,
yeah,
okay, I've just got to shimmy a little bit this way and I'm good to go. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And maybe that's the difference between why I'm not a +6 handicap and I'm only a 6 handicap. I don't know. But I think if you figure out how to play your game at the highest level that you can, that's that's how you win at golf. Really
yeah.
is to play your game at the highest level. And there's so many different ways to do that. Who are we to criticize what works for somebody else? If it works, it works, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. I mean, with the aim point thing, it is hypercritical of me to say it's a load of rubbish. Like it is
Yeah.
for me. I always looked at like who were the greatest putters of all time, and none of those guys used aim point. I think there is, like you said, there's a certain type of person that aim point suits. Generally, there'd probably be somebody that just cannot see a line of a putt or whatever it may be. They want to take their eyes out of it. Um, I think I'm similar to what you were saying, a bit more feel based with the game, and I actually had a bit of a sort of like eureka moment when I went on a little sort of one night stay and play with my wife at a golf course, and I just went out for like 9 holes in the evening one night, and I normally have to wear like prescription lenses, and I didn't have any on me, so I just was like, I'm gonna hit the ball, and I don't know this course. I'll see where it goes and hope for the best. And I
Hmm.
played like some of my best golf I'd ever played. Like I was zapping pins to get yardages, but I was just feeling it, like feeling the wind, trying to honestly played so well. And will I turn up without my lenses? No. Like I'm obviously not going to do that normally because I want to see what I'm doing. But it just
Hmm.
goes to show you that there's just different types of golfers that different things work for. And it may not be optimum, but it's what's optimum for your game.
It's so true. And like, again, that's why I go back to like that tempering the expectations because I don't know, we feel as golfers and we all want to be successful and we all want to win. We all want to perform well. That's why we golf. But we've all heard those stories of, okay, it was a throwaway round. I went out to just go golf, quick nine. My wife's at the spa. I'm gonna go golf a quick nine, and it's the best golf that you played.
Mm,
And I can say, I played one of the best rounds of my life last year. It was 30 degrees Fahrenheit,
right.
and so below freezing.
Yeah.
I've got hand warmers. I've got tights on underneath my pants. And I'm just like, I just got to go hit a golf ball. That's all I want to do is just go play golf. It's like, I don't care about the score. I literally said that to myself on the way to the golf course. I don't care about the score. Just go out there and bop around the golf course a little bit. And I literally shot the score of my life. And so it's like, just temper our own expectations. And I say that now, and I haven't been able to return to that same mindset, even though I try, but it's so hard. But we have to temper those expectations and then duplicate it when it works, right? And then
Yeah.
forget it when it doesn't. But
You
I
just
don't
want to
know.
bottle it up, don't you, that feeling? Because I literally did that night, and then I played 13, 14 holes in the morning in like 3 over at like a championship course. And I was like, where has this been?
Yeah.
Like, where has this been? It was like 5 in the morning. I had the golf course to myself because they were kind enough to let me out to get some footage and everything like that. And I was like, okay, can I do this in like a four ball with my mates? Like when you
Yeah.
feel that little bit of pressure and you want to be able to do that, but will you do all the same things? Will you not care as much? Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. I've
Well, let
forgotten
me
what the feeling is already.
well, let me ask you this. Out
Hmm.
of your group of friends, where do you rank as far as golf? And I'm not asking you to like, call out names or anything. I don't want to put you in hot water, but
No, I'll
the
do it.
overall question would be is are are you the best golfer in your group? Or are you the worst golfer? Somewhere in the middle? Where do you lie that way?
I like to use a really annoying phrase, which I use with all my friends, which is we just don't know where my ceiling is yet. Because
Ah,
that
yes.
really annoys them, right? Because I probably golf like twice a month, probably about
Okay.
that, and I'm down to 10 handicap at the moment.
Good for
Okay, and
you.
I'm just trying to work my way down. I'm trying to get to your spot right now. That's my like goal within like the next year, if I can place it a little bit more. I would say I sit at number of the friends I golf regularly with. Let's say that regularly
Yeah.
with.
Yeah.
I probably sit like second or third in the group.
Okay.
We've got one guy who's golfed for like many years, and he's around like a 4 or 5. And I probably sit I'm just behind him. And then there's a bit of a gap because there's a lot of new golfers or a lot of
Mhm.
people that have kind of stagnated at a certain handicap and just maybe don't have they have the ability, but they just haven't been able to do it consistently. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's kind of where I sit. How about yourself?
It's tough. I golf a lot by myself, in fairness. So
Mm,
I golf early in the morning a lot, and so I golf by myself probably 75% of my rounds, I bet, or with strangers. You know, what I mean, just
yeah,
random people that I get matched up with. But um, I would say, unfortunately, that I'm probably the best out of the people that I golf with the most.
hmm
And I think it actually I don't play as well, to be honest. Like
yeah,
if I'm playing a round with, a 15, so like if I'm thinking of the people I golf with the most, I've got like a 20 handicapper,
hmm
my brother, who I don't golf with a ton, but when we do golf, we golf a lot because he lives, a ways away from me, but he's like a 20, 25 handicapper. And then I've got some other buddies that are maybe in that 10 to 15 range. And as you know, and I feel, I guess, kind of weird saying this, but the gap between 15 to 20 is pretty big, like as
yeah,
far as the skill set. And the gap between 10 and 15 is even bigger, I would say.
yeah,
The gap between a 5 and a 10 is even bigger, right? And I can say that as well. Somebody who's a scratch golfer,
yeah,
their their game and my game is very far apart. They are
yeah,
so much better than me. So that's the challenge is then my golf game starts to replicate those that I'm playing with
hmm
at times. And
yeah,
I wish that it didn't. I wish that it didn't. So like there's that little happy gray area that I want to be in where, like you said, I don't care who
hmm
I'm just going to go out and goof around, no big deal. I want to find that place versus I want to be in between that place and a 15 to 20 handicap place, like
yeah,
somewhere in between there. And uh, and I struggle with that sometimes. But like you play down to who you're playing with, but
yeah,
at the same time, I love to play up to those that I'm playing with as well. And
yeah,
sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I'd much rather be challenged and have to like step up my game, feel a little bit of that pressure versus who cares? They hit one in the hazard, I'll follow them in there. I'd much
yeah.
rather not have that be the case, but haven't mastered that one yet.
It's tough. I mean, I literally one of my goals for the year that I set on this podcast was to stop caring so much about keeping my score every single round.
Hmm.
Um, I can say I've failed in that already because I literally had a friend the other day who said like, "Oh, when we play next week, should we do like a scramble? Like just do like a two-man scramble?" And I just immediately said no.
They're not happening.
I was like, look, mate, like I don't get to play like a huge amount. I want to get a scorecard like for that round. Like I want to see where I'm at. And he's like, you said, and I'm like, I know what I said, but I take it back immediately. Like I don't
Right.
want to do that because I think because the competitiveness in you, like even if you're not playing against anyone, you are playing. The beauty of golf is you play against yourself, and
Mhm.
I want to better, the 81 that I shot at this course. I want to shoot an 80. I want to break 80 here, whatever it may be.
Mhm.
And golf can just keep doing that to you time and time again. Course records get broken, and they seem
Right.
unbelievable, but yet it happens. So. Yeah, I'm not great at that either, to be honest, Cameron. I'm really not. I just, yeah, I struggle.
Well, the other thing, speaking of scrambles, is I play horribly in scrambles. Horrible. Horribly in scrambles. And I think it's the total flip side. So I guess maybe I'm just contradicting myself this entire time, which is okay. There's layers to golf, right? But but when I'm in a scramble, every shot has to be perfect, right? Like especially onto the green in every putt. And that's not my game. My game is I'm going to get on the center of the green and I'm going to two putt for par. That's
Mhm.
my game. I'm not out there trying to make birdies. I'm out there trying not to make bogeys. And I think that's why my scores have improved so much is because I'm not attacking pins that I shouldn't be. I
Yeah,
attack them when they're available, but I don't when they're not. But in a scramble, it's like, oh, we missed that 8 footer. We all suck. It's like, no,
yeah.
that's a great putt. I got a two putt par out of this deal. I don't know what you're
Hmm.
talking about. This is great. Off the tee at the scramble, I do a little bit better because it's more carefree, just like bomb it out there as far as you can. But onto the green and putting, I'm terrible at scrambles because it's just got to be too perfect. And like,
Yeah.
that's just not my game. Not yet, anyways, I should say.
Yeah, the center of the greens and everything like that thing that I've been trying to implement that recently because I had Scott Fawcett on,
Oh, dude,
Decade Golf Scott. I mean, he was amazing. He was Scott like when he was
of
on here,
course.
and I knew
Yeah.
exactly what I was going to get after years of watching like his content. Like I don't know where I was first introduced to him. I think it may have been like a Peter Finch video, like way back in the day, or a Rick
Yeah.
Shields maybe. And it was amazing to have him on. And it was just before I was going on a golf trip, and like he basically just told me like you're not good enough to go for this. He's like you're like a I think at the time I was like 13, and he's like you know just keep the ball in play. He's like pick.
So true, man.
I said to him I'm gonna pick I'll be aggressive to conservative targets. And he even corrected. I thought I had really like hit the nail on the head with that, and he was gonna like clap me on the back and be like, "Yeah, that's it." But he literally went, "I prefer be aggressive towards mathematically." I can't remember the exact phrase, but
Yeah.
he even rephrased the exact thing that I thought he was gonna love, and I was like, "Yeah, okay, that's perfect." But I spent the whole time after that just I mean, it got to the point where I would have a chip that would be, you know, a 20-yard chip from off the green.
Hmm.
And, the pin would be slightly tucked or wherever it may be. And I got to the point where I was literally just like not even looking at pins at that. I just looked at where was the flattest part of the green to the pin
Yep.
and just went, well, that's my target. Like if I get it there, I've got to putt at it. Whereas if I go for this pin and I thin it or I fat it or whatever I might do, then we're in two chip territory. We're breaking the Tiger Five. We're in trouble. So
Hmm.
he was unbelievable. I can tell from your reaction, you're a big Scott
Oh,
Fawcett fan, yeah.
huge Scott Fawcett fan, man. Yeah, I think. Yeah, Scott is Scott, which I really appreciate actually.
Mm.
I'll be honest. And that may not be a super popular opinion, but well, it is because Scott's
Yeah,
super popular. But I appreciate the directness of a golf coach, of any coach. And that's what I view Scott to be. And that's probably a little bit gratuitous on my side. I think that Scott is my golf coach. But um, the reality is like I like that of like you're not good enough for that.
hmm
So, and again, that's, a lot of my mentality and a lot of the things that I practice come from Scott Fawcett preaching of like you're not a PGA Tour player. And even if you were, those guys miss those putts all day long. So what are you getting so upset about? Like, this is crazy. And he's big on positive self-talk versus implying negative self-talk, like don't hit it into the water. Well,
Yeah.
of course, what are you going to do? You're going to hit it in the water if you say don't hit it in the water. So the message ought to be, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to aim right here. If it goes straight, great. If I play my miss, that little fade, and it lands right here, I'm good too. But I'm not going to not put it in the water. And
Yeah.
that type of mentality has been a total game changer for me. And actually, one of the coolest moments of my content creating career was Scott Fawcett started following me. And I think I
Oh,
could be wrong, but I think it's the only time I've ever like screenshotted it and shared it to my story of like, oh my gosh, this is unbelievable. Like my whole life has been made that Scott Fawcett followed me. And
yeah.
so Yeah, Scott's unbelievable. A lot of the things that have improved my scoring without question have come from him and from Decade Golf. So,
Yeah,
yeah, if you aren't listening to what he's talking about, go do it right now. It's a total game changer.
absolutely. Yeah, that's an awesome moment. I sort of like forced him into the follow. You know,
That's
it's
smart. That's
it's
smart.
like you're on the podcast and I'm going to collaborate with you on this reel. So guess what? You're going to have to follow me now. So this is what.
Right.
So it probably
Ugh.
wasn't as natural. Definitely wasn't as natural as your follow. That's for sure. I was going to ask you, Karen, with the content creation side of things, how do you find people's reaction when you're out on course? Because I think people that maybe are thinking of getting into golf content creation or uh, being passionate about what they want to create, which is a difficult thing as well to try and find exactly what your passion is when it comes to the creation. You love the idea of creating content around golf, but where is your niche? So that's too many questions. I've done too many
Okay,
questions.
I'm trying to write all those questions
You
down.
try to,
Okay, fire,
sorry,
fire away.
just go for this one. I'll go for this one.
Okay.
How have you found people's reaction on the course with your content creation? Let's start with that. I'll do that.
Okay, well, I have a follow-up question before I answer. As far as the act of me physically making content, as far as like, hey, this guy's out here filming, or is that what you mean, or how do you mean the question?
Yeah, like that
Yeah.
because I think people worry about maybe getting their camera out and filming their swing, whatever it may be,
Sure.
filming a hole. Have you found it?
Yeah, great question in that regard. And I think it goes back to, what we spoke about a little bit earlier with the tradition of the game and the etiquette of the game and respecting the game, respecting the golf course, the facility that you're at, but also respecting
Mm,
the golfers that you're golfing with. I think not one of those things should be forgotten about.
hmm
But also at this stage of my content creating, I'm monetizing my content. I get paid to do what I do, and so I also have to respect my livelihood. And so
Yeah.
all of those things have to be kind of balanced. With that said, the last thing I would ever want is to allow my content creating to disrupt a round, both for myself as well as for those that I'm playing with. Um, so I walk probably 99% of my rounds. It's good exercise for me too.
hmm
Um, and so I actually have like a little, I don't have it in here with me, of course, because it's attached to my push cart, but I'm looking around like I'm going to find it somewhere. But I have a little Amazon tripod that I've wrapped around the handle on my push cart that it literally takes less time for me to set up and hit record than it does somebody to record a score in an app on 18 birdies or on the Grant or whatever it is, whatever apps you're using. So um, I would say, and I might get challenged with this, but I bet 80% of people that I play with don't even know that I'm recording. I don't
Yeah.
record them in fairness, but they don't even know that I'm recording my own golf shots. I
hmm
push my little cart up right behind my ball just like you would. I laser it, I shoot the pin or shoot the yardage, whatever it is, I hit record and away you go. So um, my my recommendation, I guess, maybe to answer the second part of your question is how to maybe help or encourage people who are considering that is just be mindful of those things. Is you don't want to be that guy for any reason, content or otherwise, that's holding up the group and being disrespectful to the other players.
Mm,
And content is no different than that. But um, yeah, my encouragement to anybody and to everybody, I should say, is to just make content. Just do it.
mm,
It is endlessly rewarding. Yeah, we've spoken about some of the negative sides, but it's endlessly rewarding. You get to connect with awesome people. Turns out, I can't imagine that you and I would have met in any other circumstance
yeah.
outside of social media. Um, and I've traveled to see people that I met on social media. People have traveled to see me from social media. It's humbling. So definitely shoot, make videos, make reels, make content, make posts, but be respectful of the game, be respectful of the course, the players, and also be respectful of yourself. Sometimes if I'm not playing well, I can tell I'm worried too much about getting the perfect shot, the perfect this,
mm,
the perfect that with the camera. So it's like I care more about my golf game than I do the content game. So okay, time to put the phone away, time to put the camera away. Let's get focused. Let's play golf. And
Yeah.
sometimes that's just what you got to do.
I think I've definitely experienced the other side of it where I honestly felt like a distraction to myself and to the group that we were playing with. We
Mhm.
were filming a sort of 1v1 match, which we didn't even end up using all the footage for, and we didn't really have the best setup for it, so it took a little bit of time. And you try to do it when other people were hitting their shots, but inevitably something else goes wrong. And there's nothing worse. I was playing a new course. I'd never played there before. I wanted to enjoy it, and I just didn't. I didn't enjoy the day, basically. I didn't play well. So then I'm
Yeah,
thinking, great, everyone's gonna see this now, like me not playing well, and I haven't even enjoyed the process of doing the whole thing. So definitely getting down to like a consistent routine that's quick, and doesn't affect anybody else, but equally is high quality, is like a is like a really good recipe that you gave there.
so
Um,
true, so true. And and to your point, like it reminds me, I had a family member. My dad likes to take a lot of pictures. I mean, he's trying to, he's a photographer. He does a lot of cool stuff now. But even as a kid growing up, it was like, okay, just one more, just one more, just one more. And it's like, dude, get on with it. Like we all want to move on. I had a family member. I won't mention who they are, but I had a family member that told me, he's like, well, why don't we just remember the memory and not remember taking the picture?
mm,
And that stuck out to me for a lot of reasons over a lot of years, especially as I've started to make content. Like you said, you're at a dream course, you're
mm,
at, a bucket list facility, and you're spending all your time making content. No,
mm,
no, no. Remember the memory. Make the memory. Don't remember making the content about the memory. You know what I mean? And I
mm,
think it's so true, even just about a simple round on a Tuesday afternoon, but it's just as important, probably more so important when you have this pedestal event of we're going to do this match or we've got this course, we've got this, I got to go low today. It's like, no, no, no. Remember the memory, make the memory. Don't make the memory about the content or about the picture, whatever it is.
yeah, yeah, definitely. I was gonna say as well as a follow up to it, with people trying to find what their passion is in the content creation. How have you found that? And do you think you've narrowed it down now to exactly what you think it will not always be, but what it will be for the foreseeable future?
Yeah, that's tough. And I'm in a lot of, threads and groups with a lot of other creators and a lot of people that are trying to grow and I myself, I'm still trying to grow and continue to, shape what happens next for me. And Um, the simple answer is always, well, just make what's relatable. Well,
Mm,
well, yeah, obviously, like I think that's like a fairly obvious statement, but I think oftentimes creators, and I've fallen victim to this too, is I try and make what I think other people will find relatable about their own
mm,
lives instead of making things about my factual life that I think could be relatable for other people. And for example, a couple of things that really jump out in my mind is, social media is oftentimes referred to as the highlight reel of people's lives, right? It's so
mhm,
good, it's so great, there's nothing wrong, whether you're in the golf content space or just social media in general. And I definitely, I'm not perfect at that, but when I hit bad shots, I'll show those just as much as I hit the good shots. You know, I'm not a PGA Tour player, and even if I was, guess what? Scotty Scheffler's still hitting shanks out there. Tiger Woods
mhm,
still hitting shanks at, Riviera like he did 2 years. I mean, like there's that stuff still happens. And so to think that we're above that, above showing our bad shots is crazy to me. Um, and that may be uncomfortable for other people. I understand it's not very comfortable for me too. I don't like
mhm.
people to watch me shank a shot, or chunk a wedge, but it's real.
Yeah,
Um, and I think because all of us hit those shots, that inherently becomes relatable. Um, and that's the same thing true with my marriage. I've been happily married for a lot of years. I
mm,
have two awesome kids, and my wife and been together for 15 plus years, but that doesn't mean that our marriage is perfect.
mhm.
She gets upset with me because I golf too much. I get upset with her because she won't let me golf as much as I want. And these are all first world problems. Like, let's not confuse that. Like, I want to golf 5 days a week instead of 3 days a week, and now we're having a marital dispute. Like, that's crazy. I'm so blessed, but um, that's relatable, and
Yeah,
and I think I'm an advocate of exploiting that and showing that there's a realness side to me as a person, to me as a creator, but again, to go all the way back, that's where that two-way connection has really become so strong is because people get to see a little bit different side of my life. Even if it's, just a text on a screen, they're still knowing that that's happening to me and it may have happened to them and they're going to
Yeah.
share it with their spouse or they're going to share it with their buddies or whatever the case is. And I think that's where a lot of the growth has come from is showing that we can all be vulnerable, we can all be relatable, and um, yeah, just finding that little pocket of
Mm.
of balance. And so for me, it's been, golf, parenthood, yard work,
Yeah.
like being a spouse. A lot of that stuff has been kind of that's what I do. I am passionate about all those things, being a family man, my yard, golf. Those are all things I'm pretty passionate about. So I think it comes off pretty real as a result.
Yeah, I wonder if people when they're looking to get into content creation basically like brainstorm, you know, those three things that you've just said, but then do all these offshoots and try and focus in on one when actually the core is golf, yard, family. And you're going to hit so many more people, not that you're focusing in on that, but that's going to resonate with so many more people, isn't it? And I think to speak honestly on my side, I do all the podcast, and then obviously I'd love to do the golf content creation side of things. I've found a difficult struggle in that very thing that you were saying sometimes of overthinking what people want to see,
Hmm.
which leads to sort of, I've released some sort of reels and things like that that I've been personally really proud of that have performed terribly. And
So
you,
true.
it's just horrible because but maybe I should look at it differently as to that's not horrible, that's just a step, and I'll just, that works. I love that's what I love. So the
Yeah.
next one I do on the same thing, I think might do better, and I shouldn't really care about the views. But getting trapped on the views is it's tough,
It's
right?
killer. It's killer, man. I think I have a couple of things to say to that if I can be so bold
Of
or if I
course.
can speak to that is first of all, as far as the views, nobody cares whether your reel did good or not except for you.
Hmm.
Literally. Literally nobody else in the world thinks that or cares whether your reel did well or not. Maybe like, if it's a monetization, if it's a brand deal, maybe your brand cares a little bit, but like they don't care. People don't care. Your followers don't care because the amount of my followers that are going to go in and look at the engagement, look at the likes, look at the views, they don't
Yeah.
care. They're either going to find it amusing or they're not. They're going to keep scrolling just like I do if I pass somebody's reel. So we all need to. It's so similar with golf. We need to temper our expectations. Nobody cares if I hit a bad shot. I take my son out golfing and he's so worried about what the other people on the course are thinking about his golf swing. It's like, dude, trust me, they have enough problems to worry about. They do not care or they do not notice when you hit a bad shot. They're just worried about themselves not hitting a bad shot. So the same thing's true in the content space is it's so hard already. Like nobody really cares, which
Mm.
is hard to say, but nobody really cares. But the second piece of that just escapes me. But what was the first thing that you said? You're talking about, oh, what didn't work and what worked.
Yeah.
I think what happens more often than not is the things that we think aren't going to work, we don't put a lot of time and effort into. Same thing with golf. We just go out there, hey, we're just going to go play a goof off round. We end up shooting the best score of our life. Same thing is true with reels from my experiences. You're going to go out there, you're going to overproduce something, and it's going to flop. And then you're going to
Hmm.
get discouraged, you're going to get burnt out, and you're not going to be wanting to post as much because you're feeling vulnerable or you feel exposed, you feel embarrassed, all that stuff. But just post. Like it's all cringy until it works. It's
Yeah.
all cringy until it works. And once it starts working, then people go, okay, I'm in.
Yeah.
And lastly, I'll say to that, like, just because it didn't work now doesn't mean that you should stop making it. So, for example, now there are some limitations to that. If you keep on making like cat golf videos, like there's an audience out there for that, I'm sure. It's just
Mm.
going to be harder to find because there aren't as many people that are passionate about watching cats play golf. Let's just like throw a crazy example out there, right?
The cogs are
Probably not.
turning though now.
Yeah,
Maybe
you never
maybe
know.
this is what I've been missing.
Maybe this is it. But think about this though. So that doesn't mean that those people don't exist. That just means, let's say it's 1 out of 1,000 that are going
Hmm.
to be really passionate about watching animated cats play golf. 1 out of 1,000. Well, 1 out of 500 like to watch hole vlogs, like to watch people that they don't know play a hole of random golf because they're a
Hmm.
golf nut and they're a golf nerd, probably like me and you. Like, I love watching hole vlogs because I'm a
Yeah.
nerd, but that's only 1 in 500 people. And so that doesn't mean that that creator should stop making that content. They just have to temper their expectations on the growth pattern of their followers because they're not going to get, 2 out of 5 people love watching animated cats play golf. Like, that's
Hmm.
not going to happen as often. And so, to your point earlier about the kind of content that I make, golfers are predominantly middle-aged males that have disposable income. So therefore, typically they have a nice home. They take pride in what they do. They take pride in their yard. They're a family person and they love golf.
Hmm.
I've lucked out that the things that I'm passionate about, I've just found that other dudes in their 30s and 40s are also passionate about. So maybe that is 2 out of 3 or 2 out of 4 people may find the stuff that I make amusing. It just happens to be stuff that I'm also passionate about. So if you're passionate about making animated videos of cats playing golf, continue to make them. Continue to do that. Don't try and find stuff. If that's your passion, don't try and copycat my passion because it probably won't play as well.
Yeah.
But go film, go create your passion, and the followers will come. They just may come at a different rate because of what your niche content is. Does that, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I think tempering our expectations as creators is so important. Same thing again as golf.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's a brilliant point. Unfortunately, now all I can think of creating is animated cats playing whole vlogs. So, because then we're
Yes.
catching two audiences.
I think, well, that's the overlap. And then you throw him getting on a lawnmower by the time he's done and boom, we've
There you
got it
go.
all. Right?
And then barbecue at the end of the day. That could end
Yes,
quite badly actually with a cat. So
that's fair.
let's maybe.
That's a different demographic, I think, when you start cooking cats. I think that's a different target audience than I think we all want. But yeah, and that's what's amazing. Like, I stumble across reels and content all the time. It's like, who thought of this stuff?
Yeah.
And you go look at it and they've got, 2 million followers. And it's like, good for you. Like, you found the 2 million people on the planet Earth that love this. And
Hmm.
um, the sooner that you can identify the type of content that you truly want to make, and
Yeah.
then what your target audience is for that type of content, that's where that's where the growth happened for me anyways. It was like, what kind of content do I truly want to make? And who do I want to be that audience, or who do I feel like is that audience is going to be attracted to that type of content? And then you just turn the faucet on and keep going.
Amazing. Amazing. Yeah. Just, yeah, be yourself. And
$100%.
that may be a difficult journey for people to even look sort of like inwards and discover exactly who, what that is, yeah. And then just go for it, which is obviously, quite apt for you as well, Cam, right?
That's it, man. I think that's what's cool is, even yeah, that's obviously that's my handle is just go for it golf, and that really comes from a place of abandoning fear and just running with it. And we can continue to get super philosophical with golf and with life and the parallels that are there. But it came for me of just like we're out playing golf and it's like, well, do I want to hit this shot? Do I want to hit that shot? It's like, dude, just shut up and go for it. Just go
Mm.
for it. Just go
Hmm.
for it. And so it was actually a stranger said, I've never heard somebody positively tell their partner, just go for it so many times in a round. It was awesome. It was uplifting. That was a stranger made that comment to me and I never even realized it.
Yeah.
And so, anyways, that's where my name came from, and ultimately, it's been a beacon for a lot of things in my life of abandon fear, go all in, just go for it, and it's had a tendency to work itself out so far. We'll see what happens next, but so far it's been pretty helpful.
So what is next, Cameron, with the business technically now, right? I mean, that's what it's become.
Yeah, I don't know. And any brands that I work with, please turn off the podcast now. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, it's I've been giving this a lot of thought recently, and I've been so blessed and so fortunate to work with some awesome people, get connected with awesome people, and represent some awesome causes. I had a big bucket list for me last summer was to host a golf tournament. and
Mm.
to put on a Just Go For It golf tournament. And we accomplished that last year was our first year in 2024. And then we just did a little bit bigger, a little bit better event this year in 2025. And all of the proceeds go to kids playing golf, which is awesome.
Amazing.
So Youth on Course is a huge organization, nonprofit organization. So we donate all the proceeds from our tournament. There's like, I don't keep anything. Nobody else gets anything. All the money goes right to the kids. And it helps subsidize the cost of tee times for kids. So I want to continue to grow that. I want to continue to be able to support that cause more and more. And I want to continue to, I don't know, positively impact people. I think that's ultimately my goal and my dream is the more people I can put a smile on their face for 2 seconds. We all have enough going on in life that like we need that distraction. Again, that's a hugely positive and negative of social media is the distraction.
Mm.
But if I can put a smile on somebody's face for 0.2 seconds, then great. Or take their mind off of whatever troubles that they're having at home or whatever troubles they're having at work, then that's fantastic. And if I can use that for a different level of good of supporting kids or making a bigger impact in the community, I want to continue to do that. Um, and I will say, I think over the next few months, there'll be some other big partnerships that are coming, which I'm really excited about. I feel really fortunate to get linked up with such awesome people again, like I said, and I've said this about 1,000 times, and I'll keep saying it about 1,000 more times, but literally none of this is possible without, people choosing to follow you. And I never, ever, ever want to take that lightly, that this is a choice that people make. They can choose to unfollow you, and your reputation dives just as quickly as they choose to follow you. So you might as well respect that. Don't take that for granted. And that's my goal. Ultimately, whatever happens with this over the next year, or 10 years, or 50 years, that my ultimate goal would be, I guess, just not take any of it for granted and just feel honored and humbled to have made the connections that I have. So
That's
that would
amazing.
be my philosophical deep answer.
No, I like that. I like that because that's essentially not sort of closing yourself off into a corner of, well, I'm planning on making this type of content. Like you've already shown that the content that you make is something that's relatable to you and that can change over time. Got it,
Yeah.
you know? So I like that. I like that approach to it. I've asked you to obviously be a bit sort of prophetical of what's going to happen. So I'm going to do the same again with what's going to happen this weekend. This podcast will be released next week. So this it would already happen. The Open will be
Ooh,
over. So
okay.
this could be your moment.
This could
Okay.
be it. This could be like the mic drop moment of
Yeah.
everybody. I called it. Okay.
We're recording on the
Well,
14th.
yeah,
The
fair.
14th of July at 10 p.m. currently UK time. And here it is, the winner
I
of
love
the
it.
Open.
Well, I will say I saw this article or this snippet of a comment earlier today, I believe. Um, Yeah, it had to be today. And I think it either came from Rory or came about Rory. So I
Mm,
will say, first and foremost, my pick will be Rory. But the reason is that the little snippet or the little comment that I read was winners of the tournament leading into a major oftentimes don't do very well
hmm
because they're distracted by the win, they're distracted by all of the media, all of the attention that's on them during that time. However, those that place in the top five, obviously Roy finished second at a Goddard up over
mm,
the weekend. So I actually put him in a better position not winning the Scottish Open than if he did win the Scottish Open. Um, and I think anytime you get Rory, I shouldn't say anytime, oftentimes when you get Rory in those types of conditions, Scotland, Northern Ireland plays pretty well, obviously.
yeah,
So I will go with Rory, but you'd be an idiot not to at least throw Scotty Scheffler's name out because there's a golf tournament happening. So if there's a
yeah,
golf tournament happening, you have to mention Scotty Scheffler. So,
yeah.
but my pick will be Rory.
Yeah, this Scotty was just crazy. Even the Scottish, he he played bang average golf for Scotty Scheffler. And what was he? Was he still top 10?
Yeah,
I think.
T9, I think, yeah. And like that's
Barely
what's,
registered all weekend. Barely registered. Like barely showed any shots of Scotty on the coverage over here, and
crazy.
he's still
They,
T9.
I heard this. they were talking about Scotty's slow start. Obviously, dealt with his hand injury and hand surgery at the start of the year, and I don't recall the announcers bashing Tiger the same way. It was, I'm going to worship the ground that Tiger walks on, and deservedly so. He's Tiger
Mm,
freaking Woods, deservedly
yeah,
so. However, if Tiger Woods was finishing T22, I don't think the announcers were bashing him of that's not the way a world number one plays. And I do think that Scotty gets a bad rap because I
mm,
just heard it this weekend at the Scottish Open going, that's not the way you would expect a world number one to play that shot. It's like, it's golf, dude. That's
yeah.
insane. But through his slow start all spring and all early, late spring, his worst finish was a T25. Didn't miss a single cut coming off of hand surgery. And everybody's, you got Phil Mickelson saying he's not going to win before the Ryder
Oh,
Cup.
yeah,
You got the whole world of golf saying we've given up on Scotty Scheffler, which is insane. So I would love to see how many other players would be frustrated or irritated with a T25 being their worst finish of the year.
mm, yeah. It's crazy, isn't it? It's
Crazy.
just
Yeah.
what he's produced has just been. It's sort of like the golf that I never expected to see again. Essentially, like the dominance that he had, especially in 24, like the dominance that he showed. Obviously, it hasn't repeated itself quite the same this year, but it's still been remarkable levels of golf. I like the Rory pick. I think Rory's Rory, isn't he? Like I think we know if he does win, it's gonna be an emotional roller coaster because that's just what he produces. Like the
Like
Masters was just
it was
we
horrible. Like I'm
we
taking
can't
off my
do
hat.
that
You see
again.
how bald
Yeah,
I had hair before the Masters.
I
I
believe it.
did. It
Yeah,
was crazy.
yeah.
I mean, truly, I can't tell you. Oh my gosh, and Fleetwood's the same way. But
Oh,
oh my gosh.
I
Both of
mean,
those two guys, I love them to death. I mean, I'm a huge Fleetwood fan, huge Rory fan, but oh my gosh, they just make it so hard to root for them because you're going to get let down.
yeah, yeah. Oh, the listeners will know because it will be last week's episode. At the intro, I gave my pick, Justin Rose. I've got a feeling that it would just be like a bow on his year, which has been like a really amazing. When you consider the stage of his career he's at, he's,
Unbelievable.
you know, I honestly thought in the Masters like it was roses to to win pretty much. Once that playoff happened, I thought there's no way Rory recovers from what just happened.
Yeah.
And Rosie's an ultimate competitor. Like even the way he took the tee box, it was like
Yeah.
he's in charge now. He's getting people moving out of his way to move the shadows, and I just
So
thought,
true.
Here we go. And he's been really consistent all year. And I just, he came close last year. Came second, didn't he, to Xander
Hmm.
last year, and I just feel like it's maybe Rosie's time, but we'll see if we get
Well,
another
and
playoff.
well, he just had a strong showing as well at the Scottish.
Yeah,
Um, he was on the front page of the leaderboard as well. At least at some point on Sunday, I don't know exactly where he finished up, but I think he was a top
yeah,
10, or at least he was so at the start. But at the start of the day, so I think that coming into a major like that, how did you play the week before? Not necessarily how did you finish, did you win or
yeah,
not, but how are you playing? Where's your game trending? And those are the players that traditionally do pretty well. So I don't hate that pick. I love that actually. That's pretty
yeah.
solid.
Yeah, I think he shot a 63 on the last day of the Scottish. So he
That's
was
crazy.
nowhere. He was nowhere, and then came up to be in the top five, was it, or something like that? I mean, it's just
Insane.
insane. These guys are pretty good at golf. He's pretty much the answer to that. But
That's the
I hope
consensus. I'd agree.
I I hope you're able to enjoy it because I know the timings are going to be way off, right, for you.
Well, I have some strategies in place when there's UK golf going. So one, I wake up pretty early as it sits. So
Hmm.
I wake up pretty early, so that's advantageous for me. But also too, I don't look at my phone until I've watched it because I don't want to see any updates. I don't want to see anything. Um, and so, I'll have work on one half of my computer and I'll have the stream going on the other half of my computer for sure. But I won't look at any updates. I won't look at social media whatsoever. Maybe I'll post, but I won't look at anything until I've watched it. So yeah, it won't be
Amazing.
live, but it's close to it.
Oh, Cameron, I hope you enjoy it. Thank you so much for joining me on the podcast. I hope. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope I answered some decent questions. You know, that's always the ideal as the host. But I really appreciate it, Cameron. Thank you.
Yeah. But likewise, I appreciate you inviting me on. Great questions. Instigated some thought in my brain a little bit. And I truly do appreciate the opportunity, man. It's great chatting with you.
No, you're welcome. Before we go, any sort of shout outs you want to give, obviously for your Instagram page and any sponsors or whatever it may be.
Yeah, I'll give the biggest shout out is just to everybody listening to this, all the followers that I have. I'm blessed and truly grateful for all of you guys. And again, none of this, literally none of whatever this is, none of this would be possible without you guys. So I appreciate all of you tremendously. So if you don't follow me, I would be honored if you did. But if you do already, yeah, I appreciate you guys tremendously. So yeah, that's all I got.
Love it. They probably already follow you. They definitely don't follow me. So thanks, Cameron.
You bet. Thank you.